All right, let's talk about a game that's looking to completely shake up a franchise we all know and love. Today, we're doing a deep dive into Digimon Story Time Stranger.
So, let's just get this out of the way. This is way more than just another JRPG. It's not just a trip down memory lane either. We're talking about a real evolution of the Digimon Story formula here.
Okay, so let's get into the setup. You're a chrono diver, which is a fancy way of saying you can jump between these shattered timelines. And right away, the game just tosses out that lighter kind of school life vibe from the other games. Instead, it throws you headfirst into this really intense story about time, about loss, and what memory even means when the digital world is falling apart.
And that's the real core of it, right? This isn't just about collecting Digimon and battling. It's about trying to put this broken world back together, and maybe even more than that, figuring out who you are when everything you thought you knew is just gone.
So if you're wondering, okay, but what does it actually play like? Well, imagine you threw Persona and Chrono Trigger into a blender. That's kind of what we're looking at here. It feels like Digimon is finally tapping back into that darker, more serious side it's always had.
And just look at this cocktail of influences. You've got the deep, emotional character bonds from Persona 5, the crazy branching story paths of Nier Automata, and that kind of sad, beautiful vibe from Final Fantasy X. And get this, it's being made by Mediavision, the same folks who did Cyber Sleuth, so you know they're not messing around. They're definitely going for a much more adult, thoughtful game this time.
All right, first up in our deep dive, ambience and immersion. Let's talk about what it feels like to be in this world.
And wow, a 9 out of 10. That score alone tells you a lot. This world is absolutely designed to suck you in and not let go. It creates a mood, an atmosphere that really stays with you.
So how do they pull that off? Well, it's all about these incredible visual contrasts. You'll see these old-tech ruins just completely overgrown with plants, or data streams that look like shimmering deserts of light. They use colors so intentionally too, like cool blues and grays for moments when time is stuck, and warmer colors when there's a glimmer of hope. Throw in a beautiful, melancholic soundtrack, and you've got a world that just bleeds atmosphere.
And that's the key takeaway, isn't it? The digital world here isn't just a background for you to fight in, it's a character in its own right. It feels alive, and it perfectly mirrors all those heavy themes of memory and loss that the story is built on.
Okay, next section. Let's talk about gameplay and mechanics. What are you actually going to be doing in this game?
An 8.5 out of 10. That's a really solid score. It basically means the game is easy for series veterans to get into, but it's got enough new tricks up its sleeve to keep things interesting. It's not reinventing the wheel, but it's making it a whole lot better.
So, the core gameplay loop is all about exploring these different timelines. And the boss battles? They're way more tactical. Less about just grinding levels for hours. But the really cool stuff is in the new mechanics. You've got Chrono Fusion, where you can literally combine Digimon from different time periods to create wild new attacks. And then there's Temporal Bonds, which is a game changer. Your choices and conversations actually change how your Digimon evolve. So like if you make a compassionate choice, you might unlock a defensive form. If you're more logical, maybe an attacker. It makes every single relationship you build feel strategically important.
And this quote just nails it. It's the perfect mix of classic strategy and real emotional weight. Your story choices actually matter in a fight, which makes everything you do feel so much more connected and, well, meaningful.
All right, now we get to the big one, the story and narrative. And let me tell you, this is where Time Stranger really shines.
A 9.5. That is a near-perfect score, and believe me, it earns it. The sheer ambition of the storytelling here is just, it's on another planet compared to previous games in the series.
I mean, just listen to this. The game throws these absolutely gut-wrenching situations at you. Imagine your partner Digimon forgetting who you are and turning into an enemy, or jumping to a timeline where they never even existed in the first place. You're constantly faced with these impossible moral choices. The writing is just so mature, so emotional. It really goes to some dark places.
And this is so true. The story trusts you, the player. It doesn't spell everything out. It's all about the subtext, the quiet moments, the things left unsaid. That restraint is what makes the emotional punches land so hard. It respects your intelligence, and it's so much more powerful for it.
Okay, last but not least in our analysis, technical performance. Let's get into the nuts and bolts of how the game actually runs.
An 8 out of 10, a very respectable score. What this tells us is that the game isn't trying to be a graphical powerhouse that melts your console. Instead, it's all about polish and being smart with what it's got.
Yeah, the real star of the show here is the art direction and the visual effects, which are just gorgeous. And what's great is that it runs pretty smoothly, even if you don't have the latest and greatest hardware. The UI is clean, easy to use, the important stuff. It's not perfect, you'll see some repeated cutscenes and a few frame rate dips here and there, but these are pretty minor complaints overall.
And that really sums it up. It's not going to blow you away with its raw tech, but it is a super polished, very coherent package. Everything about the performance is built to support the story and the atmosphere, not to distract from it. It's just smart, solid design.
So, we've broken it all down. Let's get to the final verdict. The big question, is Time Stranger worth your time?
And here's the breakdown, plain and simple. In the best column, you've got this incredible, mature story, really deep combat, unforgettable art, and a killer soundtrack. In the worst column, some repetitive side missions and a few performance stutters. Honestly, the weaknesses are pretty standard JRPG fare, and they feel like tiny nitpicks when the good stuff is this good. The pros just completely overshadow the cons here.
And if you take away one thing from this whole analysis, let it be this. This is the Digimon game that grew up with its audience. It doesn't forget where it came from, but it understands that the fans from back in the day are adults now. It offers something genuinely new, something deep that's going to hit home for anyone with a history with this series.
So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. If a story has the power to really break your heart, maybe it's finally time to go back to the digital world. Hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button for more breakdowns like this one. Thanks for watching.